The samurai understood something that most of us nowadays have gotten completely backwards. And this is the reason why we often fail to achieve our goals, or if we do achieve them, we just get this overwhelming sense of emptiness after we got the thing we were looking for. Beyond being the coolest type of historical warrior, in my opinion, the samurai were also responsible for introducing an important philosophical current to the world. Bushido, or the Way of the Warrior, was a strict moral code that all samurais had to adhere to. The samurai code of conduct heavily emphasized that self-mastery was a continuous process, and not something that could be achieved upon the completion of a certain task. The whole philosophy and way of life of the samurai were heavily predicated on the notion that the path itself is the goal. This is made evident in the very naming of all the various skills a samurai should master in his journey. Bushido, as we have seen, meaning Way of the Warrior, the overall ethical code. Kendo, Way of the Sword. Kyudo, Way of the Archery. Judo, Way of Gentleness/flexibility, and the list goes on and on. The term way implies from the get-go that there is no end to the journey. You see, they understood and recognized that in life there is really no need for endpoints. The journey toward something is the only thing that could ever satisfy the spirit. Just think about your own life for a moment. The best things you have going on are most likely things that have no endpoints assigned to them. This is maybe your friendships. It isn't like you're going to get to a point where you shake hands with your best friend and say, well, good job, dude, we have completed friendship. As soon as you stop putting in work with your friendships or relationships, they kind of start to fizzle out and eventually end. In other words, they can only end if you allow them to end by not taking enough action. This is the same if you're currently on a fitness journey. You don't get to a point where you say, I am fit now, and stop. You continually show up every day, going to the gym, going for runs, or whatever your form of exercise is. These things are so fulfilling precisely because we aren't thinking about an endpoint with them. We kind of unconsciously assume that we just need to keep doing them for the rest of our lives, because we do, and that's why they are so meaningful. Along the way, we end up creating goals that serve as landmarks for the life that we want to live. And there's really nothing wrong with this. We need things that make it clear and apparent that we are moving in the right direction. We need clarity to take action. It's just that it's very easy to confuse the goals that we set with the things that we are actually after. A way is what we are all searching for, even if unconsciously. We all want something in which we can be immersed, where time just doesn't seem to pass the same way that it does when we're stuck with entertainment or just doing meaningless work. And so the setting of a goal is simply an excuse for us to embark on the journey toward it. This does not mean whatsoever that goal setting is not useful, provided that we keep in mind what we originally created them for. We might have had the idea of a better life in mind, certain things and experiences we would obtain that would make us happier, but in the end, the reason we set the goal was to spark a behavior change. I believe we end up overvaluing outcomes. Not in the sense that we shouldn't have desire or materialistic needs. That's not what I'm talking about here. We instead overvalue outcome-based thinking. We estimate that by focusing on the results that we want to have, they are more likely to materialize. That if we hold in mind all that we do not have and lack, the resulting resentment and desperation will propel us towards what's missing. Everyone wants roughly the same things, to have high social status and to be wealthy. But if all of us want the same thing, but only a select few of us seem to enjoy it, then that has to mean that the way we are going about things, for most of us, has to have something wrong in it. Because if your focus is only on making the right choices for the day, then your life inevitably has to improve. While on the other hand, if your focus is only on the results that you want, your life will inevitably stay the same, as nothing is being done to change it. This for me is the most important insight from the samurai approach to life. It didn't really matter what they were trying to accomplish, if they were trying to master the sword or the bow or whatever skill it was. The samurai realized that the path that they chose wasn't nearly as important as the way that they chose to walk that path. It wasn't about becoming the best swordsman or the best bowman or even the best fighter. But in that pursuit, what they would get would be a good life. A life worth living with the right actions every single day. Now obviously this understanding of the way as the ultimate goal is a path, ironically. It isn't like any one of us can say that they reject the end results and goals altogether. We all are striving for something, me included. I can't be an hypocrite and say that I've risen above the need for achieving things. It will continually motivate us. Throughout our life, various things will happen to make us realize this in different ways. Maybe you will need to achieve the thing you were so looking for to understand that it wasn't that important. But this isn't something that you can learn just by me talking about it, or even that I can learn from talking about it or studying the samurai. To a certain extent, we all have to come to this conclusion in the trickiest of ways, which is to actually live life and make our own mistakes. Maybe we can gain a little bit of perspective and every once in a while remember that the journey, the thing that's currently happening, our routine, even if it's not producing results yet, is the thing that we are actually looking for in the beginning, before we started this journey, whatever it may be. And maybe that's enough to keep us going for a little longer.